Three bikers cornered an old man outside a quiet gas station. They thought he was just another worn-out vet, but when one of them reached for his collar, he didn't flinch, and within seconds the balance of power shifted. What they didn't know? He was trained to neutralize threats, and today they were it. Welcome to Legendary Stories. If you're enjoying these stories, make sure you're subscribed. The sun hung low over the hills of Ashford, a town so quiet it felt like the world had forgotten it. Rust clung to every signpost. The gas station's old pumps gave out soft clicks, struggling to keep up with the years. Leon Briggs stood beside Pump 3, the hose in one hand, his other resting on the truck's rusted bed rail. 68 years old, built like a man who'd earned every scar. Cargo pants, faded army jacket. The military patch on the shoulder wasn't new, but it was real. He didn't draw attention, didn't need to. People in Ashford knew him, or thought they did. A man who kept to himself, who showed up early to fix the church steps, rake the memorial lawn, or replace broken signs no one asked him to fix. He wasn't loud about it. He never was. The gas pump clicked. Leon pulled the nozzle free, shook off the last drop, and slid it back into place. That's when he heard them. Motorcycles. 3 of them. The sound started as a low growl, then rolled into the lot like thunder looking for somewhere to land. They weren't from town, that much was obvious. Chrome, leather, and a kind of energy that didn't belong in a place like this. One of them, tall, with a shaved head and arms inked from wrist to shoulder, parked closest to Leon's truck. The other 2 flanked him, their grins cocky, their eyes already scanning for trouble. Leon didn't move, just grabbed his receipt and closed the fuel door. But the moment he turned toward the driver's side, the first voice landed behind him. "Hey, Gramps, nice jacket. That from a thrift store or a war you lost?" Their laughter cut across the empty lot like broken glass. Leon paused, keys in hand, shoulders still. "You deaf too?" Another voice called out, louder now, closer. "We're talking to you." The third one walked over to the truck bed, boot tapping the side of the wooden crate tied down in back. Leon turned, not quickly, not with panic. Just enough to see all 3 of them, and more importantly, to let them see him. His voice was low, measured. No need for trouble. But they weren't here to listen. "Trouble?" the tall one said, stepping closer, squaring his chest. "We're just talking." "What? You nervous, old man?" Leon's stance didn't change. His hands stayed open, loose, but his eyes locked onto theirs. It wasn't fear in his gaze. It was calculation, the kind of calm that only comes from living through things these boys wouldn't dare imagine. Because Leon had seen worse than this. He'd faced down real danger, real evil, and he'd learned that you don't flinch for barkers, you wait for the bite. What they didn't know was this: they'd just surrounded the wrong man, and the next 5 seconds would decide everything. The biker with the tattoos took a slow step forward, his boots scraping grit across the pavement. Leon didn't move. He watched the man's posture, weight shifting forward, fists flexing like someone who wanted to be seen as dangerous. "You know," the biker said, circling around the front of the truck, "guys like you used to bark orders. Now you're just old news." He spat. "Some of you think you're still important just 'cause you wore a patch once." Leon's jaw stayed tight. He shifted his body slightly, not backing away, just aligning his feet, centered, balanced. The second biker stepped closer, lean, twitchy, the kind who ran his mouth more than his fists. "Bet you're all messed up inside, huh? One of those broken vets? Got the shakes? See ghosts when you close your eyes?" Leon didn't blink. His fingers tapped once against his thigh, a rhythm barely perceptible. He was counting distance, watching shadows, reading their hands. The third one moved around the tailgate. "Hey, what's this?" he asked, reaching into the bed of the truck. "Tools? You a mechanic or just play one for sympathy?" He held up a socket wrench and twirled it like a toy. "Might hurt if someone dropped this." Leon finally spoke. "Put that down." The command was calm, but it cut through the lot like a warning shot. All 3 men paused, the laughter draining just slightly. "What are you going to do about it?" the leader asked, stepping closer, just inches away now. "You going to swing? 'Cause we'll snap you in half before you even try." Leon's gaze didn't waver. "No." He raised his chin slightly. "I won't swing first." A long silence. Then the second biker snorted, "He's bluffing!" The leader reached forward, just a quick grab for Leon's collar. But that was the mistake, because the moment his hand closed the gap, Leon moved, a sharp pivot, a twist at the waist. His left arm batted the grab aside, while his right hand clamped onto the man's wrist like a vice. A step forward and down. And the biker hit the pavement with a grunt, flat on his back, the air knocked clean out of him. The other two froze. Leon stepped back, his stance neutral again, not puffed up, not taunting, just ready. "Leave," he said, but they didn't. The second one lunged. Wild punch, no form, no control. Leon sidestepped, caught the wrist mid-swing, and redirected it into the man's own chest. Then came a hook to the knee. Not a flashy move, just efficient, just painful. The man buckled to the ground, groaning, clutching his leg. The third, suddenly not so brave, held up his hands and backed away. But it was already too late for pride, because somewhere in the distance, a sound began to rise. Low, thunderous, not the bikes, not cars, rotor blades. The unmistakable thump of a helicopter echoing across the treetops. All three men turned toward the noise, eyes squinting at the sky, confused, nervous. Leon didn't look up. He knew that sound. He'd called it once before, a long time ago, in a jungle far from home. And now it was coming again. The rumble came first, low, familiar, like distant thunder across an empty plain. Leon's eyes tracked the sky instinctively, not with fear, but recognition. Then it appeared, a black hawk, matte black, no markings. It banked once over the station, circling like it was scanning for something, or someone. People stepped back, shielding their eyes as the rotor wash kicked up grit and receipts across the pavement. The flag by Pump 4 snapped hard in the wind, straight out, rigid like a salute. The bikers stood frozen, jaws slack. When the chopper touched down behind the station, a wave of silence spread through the crowd. Then came the second sound. Engines. 2 black SUVs rolled in fast and clean. Government plates, dark windows. They stopped like clockwork, synchronized. 4 soldiers stepped out in full tactical gear, no weapons drawn, just presence, just purpose. And then the door opened on the rear vehicle. A woman stepped out, mid-30s, bronze insignia glinting at her collar. Her posture was all precision, her face all focus. Leon watched her approach. The dust settled slowly around her boots. She didn't hesitate, didn't scan the scene, just walked right up to him. "Hi, Dad." He blinked, then smiled, tired, wry. "You always had a flair for timing." She smirked faintly. "You always had a flair for attracting problems." He shrugged. "Was just getting gas." The tall biker, still holding his ribs, muttered, "What is this, some kind of joke?" She turned, slowly. Her eyes pinned him in place like a nail to a board. Her name tag read, Briggs. Her patch, 160th SOAR. Special Operations Aviation Regiment, Night Stalkers. But she didn't speak to him. She spoke to the deputy who'd just arrived, red-faced, unsure what to do. "My father was assaulted," she said, voice even, "on camera, in broad daylight, while serving this community, like he has since before any of you could drive." She nodded to the crowd, still holding phones, still filming. "Deputy," she added, "you know what needs to happen." The man swallowed, nodded once, then started toward the bikers with cuffs in hand. Leon looked down. His dog tags had fallen during the scuffle. He picked them up slowly, brushing the grit away. The metal caught the sun. Worn, dented, but still legible. He slipped them over his neck. Let them hang there. The crowd had grown. A boy held his father's hand and pointed. Was he really a soldier? An older man nearby answered quietly, "Son." He still is. The bikers were cuffed without resistance. No one cheered, no one jeered, just silence, just respect. As the Black Hawk's blades wound back up, Riley reached for her father's shoulder. "You coming with us?" Leon looked around, at the faces, at the flag still waving, at the shattered pride of 3 grown men who thought toughness came from noise, and then at his daughter. "I'm ready," he said. They walked together toward the SUV, father and daughter, soldier and soldier. And as they stepped into the vehicle, the helicopter lifted behind them, its shadow crossing the lot one last time, washing over the gas station like a curtain falling after a show. This time, no one looked away. If this story moved you, tap the like button and share it. What moment hit hardest? Tell us in the comments, and if you want more stories like this, click subscribe.